New Artist Spotlight Podcast.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the New Artist Spotlight Podcast. I am Wilko Wilkes and very excited today to be joined by none other than Sano Hill. How are you doing, mate?
Good, great, Wilko. Great to see you, man, and thanks for having me on. It's great to be on again. I know I was on. It's a while ago. It's well over a year ago, but it's
it was fantastic. August last year.
Was it August? Yeah, God. Yeah. How time flies, man. How time flies.
I know, mate. It seems like yesterday.
Yeah, it does. It does. It doesn't seem that long ago at all. But it's great to be here and great to be on the show. Love the show. Love what you do with Origin and all the musicians you bring in all the time. It's extraordinary. How many shows have you done now?
I don't know, mate. I was trying to count them a couple of months ago, and I think it was about 50 or 60, something like that.
Serious? That's incredible. It's such a kind of archive of fantastic musicians to have, isn't it?
It is, mate. Yeah, and I like sometimes listening back to the episodes as well, because you can hear kind of how far people have come. It's nice. I listened back to my own episode that was in like 2021, and the stuff that I was talking about then. A lot of it's come to life now, so it's like, it's nice, man. Like you say, an archive.
Absolutely, it's incredible. So fair play. I
see you've got some. What do you call it? The audio foam as well. Did you have that last time?
I think I had, and one of it fell. It may fall down in the middle of this. One of them was falling off the wall a minute ago.
That's right.
So if it falls during the interview, we'll just ignore it. But there's one of them that's been playing up a bit. Yeah, I had that. It was there. Yeah, this is my kind of very rudimentary home studio space where I kind of develop initial ideas around songs and practice and rehearse and so on. Yeah, so it's literally it's a shed behind the house where I live.
Yeah. So you said we've not been on for a year and 3 months, something like that, and I thought, if not now, then when? We're going to talk about.
I see what you're doing, man. I see what you're doing. I like it.
Yeah. So we're going to talk today about your new album, man. And I was driving back from my mother-in-law's house earlier on today from Manchester to Leeds, and I listened to your album on the way on a very rainy M62. I loved it, mate. Really impressed. My wife listened to it as well. She was in the passenger seat. And when I played it, she actually said, "Is this Robbie Williams?" Have you ever had that before?
No, Robbie Williams wouldn't be... no, I haven't heard that before, but hey...
that was like the first 10 seconds of the album. She thought your voice sounded a bit like Robbie Williams, and I could kind of hear it when you said it.
Yeah, maybe. I can't say Robbie was an influence on the sound or on the music. I like Robbie. I mean, I have respect for Robbie Williams for what he does as an artist in his own way. And he's a great character as well, isn't he? That's
he is, but anyway, we're not here to talk about Robbie Williams. So
no, we're not. We're here
to talk about your album. I loved it, mate. Really, really, really well put together. Very coherent. I like it. Kind of, you start really lively, and then you bring it down a little bit, and then you go back up, and then it bring it down a little bit again. It's really nicely paced throughout. So tell us a bit about your experience of writing the album, because we've talked a lot about your influences and stuff like that before. If anyone wants to know about that, listen to the first podcast. But we'll get straight into it. Tell us about your experience with writing and releasing the album.
Okay, so part of the reason why the title of the album is "If Not Now When" is that this album has taken me a long time. I won't say how long, but it's been a while. Huh?
A lifetime.
I guess so. Yeah, you could say a lifetime. And I mean, I've been kind of working on the songs for a long time, and life. I mentioned this in the last podcast, right? So life takes over, and then you have the music, and then you kind of get a day job, and then you find it hard to kind of balance between the two. And then during the pandemic, I guess I had more time. Out of force majeure, we were all kind of locked down for a while. And it gave me an opportunity to reflect and to bring together the songs and to begin to put a shape on them. And there was always a kind of a shape in terms of where it was going. There's kind of two narrative arcs there. I don't know if you could gather that listening to it. So one is the kind of story of a singer-songwriter kind of trying to trying to develop his own art form, I guess, trying to find his own voice, literally, and his own sound. And the other is a kind of a relationship that's running in parallel with that, and the kind of ups and downs of a relationship. So those two kind of narrative arcs are there in the song, and they kind of developed over time, kind of organically, I guess. It just was the way. I had songs that were pointing in that direction, and then I wrote a few more songs more recently that just kind of brought the arc together, I guess. And I was working on that here in this kind of this space here. I have developing the songs, developing the ideas, and the structure and the kind of arrangements and that. And then I reached out to a producer in Dublin called Larry Hogan, who runs this kind of Studio Hub initiative. And he helped me bring in musicians to kind of bring the sound up. And that took a while. Like, that was several years, really, just to bring all those pieces together, working the songs, getting into studios to record the vocals and the instruments properly. And then in the last part of it, like, thanks to NAS, I mean, NAS has been a huge part of getting this album out as well. Like, I joined NAS, I started getting involved, maybe, what was it? We did that podcast in August. Maybe it was a month or two, not that far before, maybe June, July, I think, last year. And that was huge in terms of giving me the feedback and the encouragement that this was somewhere I could go. Do you know what I mean? Because you're never sure, I guess. Is insecurity kind of a part of a musician's life? You're always kind of uncertain. Is it there? Are the songs there? Is the quality there? Is the story there? Can I bring it together? Will other people kind of respond to it? And being in NAS was massive for that, and kind of giving me the confidence to keep going with it. And then also, I was very fortunate to get the mix and master with Braydon Williams, which was extraordinary. So that was the final piece, so to speak. So Braydon came in and did the final kind of mix and master, and just, again, brought it up that bit more in terms of the sound and the final production sound. So I was extremely lucky, I think. I kind of think things happen at a certain time for a reason. So, if not now, when? It had to happen now, and things fell into place. All those different elements just were there in a way they weren't there when I was starting writing the songs. And actually, if you go onto my Bandcamp site, I have on Bandcamp for kind of some exclusive content with the album, which is other versions of Time Out and of The Climb, for example, that are there. That gives you an idea of how far I've come and how the sound has changed, I think, as well. And that's there to kind of to give people a sense of the story and of the development of the sound as well.
Yeah, that's classmate. And yeah, I've seen that. You've got a lot of bonus content around it and stuff. You've obviously really thought out the way you were going to release it. So how's it going? Has it been well received in general? I imagine it has, because it's a class album. I saw Emily Gray had posted about it earlier on. She's been listening on her run.
Thanks, man. No, it's only out since Friday. I've been, it's still early days in terms of getting feedback, but the feedback I've been getting has been extraordinary. I've got some really, really extraordinary kind of comments and encouragement from people who've heard the album and who've contacted me on the socials or have posted on the socials themselves. So that's been, incredible, to know. I think as a musician, you're always kind of thinking about that, aren't you? You make the music, and you start making the music for yourself, don't you? And then, but you're also conscious. At some point, you have to think, well, will somebody else connect with this music? And when they do, that's just special. It's like, you just think, something worked. It kind of came together in a way that you're communicating what you were hoping to realize.
That's it, man. And I think once you got it out, I think sometimes we can think too much about the instant results anyway. Like, once you've got it out, it's there. People will listen to it when they hear about Sano Hill in a year, or when they hear about Sano Hill in 3 years, or whatever. It's there now, it's out. Have you got physical copies that you can sell? I've noticed you've been doing quite a lot of gigs recently.
I sure do. I have a CD version, which
nice.
Is you can get on my Bandcamp site again. Another plug for Bandcamp, so you can order the CD copy. So I did a kind of a limited edition CD, so I've got a small number of that I'm circulating in some of the stores here in Ireland, in Galway, in the west of Ireland. So, but I'm trying to push it out more than that. But as you know, it's mostly digital that people access the music now. So it's trying to get as much of, try to bring people to the music in whatever way I can, you know, contacting press and so on, and doing things like this with yourself. So thank you for that opportunity. And radio, wherever, you know, just trying to push out the sound, push out the music, connect with people as much as I can. And then you don't know. Somebody was telling me today, I'm not putting myself in this category whatsoever, but someone was saying he met Moby at one point, and he was just asking him, how did that music, because it was at a point where Moby's music was everywhere, right? It was just, you couldn't move, but you were hearing him. I said, you know, how did you make that transition? He said, well, when the music was everywhere, it had been released for over a year. He said he released the album, he didn't really have that expectation, but then a year later, it took that long. So that's the reality of music. It can take a long time for it to kind of build to a point where, you know, you get that kind of critical connection with a wider audience. And if that happens, fantastic. If that doesn't happen, and I just, there's a small cohort of people that respond to the music, that's good too. You know, it's just about putting it out there and connecting, and hopefully being able to continue to make music.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. Yeah, and I like it. I did a similar thing with my album. It was called Life Is Not a Rehearsal, because it was a similar, in my head, it was like that kind of if not now, when attitude. Like, it just reminded me, I've got a mate who's like a rapper, and he's not got much music out, and he hasn't had much music out, but he's got a lot of music finished and stuff. And I'm always saying to him, you should release it, because people aren't going to hear of you, or if somebody recommends you, or somebody sees you at a gig and they go to your Spotify and there's only 2 songs on there, that's disappointing for the person. Whereas if they go to your Spotify and there's an album on there, it's easier for them to share around, or it's easier for them to listen to, you know, they're probably primed to listen to your full collection if they've just seen you at a gig and they thought, yeah, this is class. But I think, like you mentioned, it like the new artist spotlight thing, it kind of pushes us all to take that extra step, because you've got a lot of role models there. You've got people who you can see that they're doing it, and that they're doing it independently, and they can give you a bit of tips here and there, and you're not as scared to release music. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right, Wilko. I mean, what Ed has done has been extraordinary in terms of what his kind of vision, what he started with and what it's become, you know, and the range and variety of musicians that are there. And also the kind of the generosity of people that are there. Do you know what I mean? That's inspirational. People could not do enough for each other. You know, there's so many people who are there, but they're there because they genuinely believe in music, obviously in their music, but they're also genuinely there to support other musicians, to connect with other musicians. The amount of collaborations in NAS, for example, that speaks to that kind of connection, and the way in which it has provided a point where people can come together.
Have you got any NAS collaborations under your belt?
Not yet, but I may have one.
Might be something brewing.
Huh?
Might be something brewing.
Yeah, there might be something brewing. Yeah, I can't say more than that right now, but I have been. And look, I'm really, to be honest, one of the things, the last while has just been so manic, just trying to get everything together, the pieces for the album and the kind of promotional piece around it. And then I have a kind of complicated personal life circumstances and work and so on. So you're just trying to keep all those balls in the air. But I am looking at trying to develop more collaborations with some of the extraordinary musicians that are in NAS. And that's definitely something that's coming and that I'm going to be working towards and exploring going forward in terms of where my next music projects. I kind of had to get this chapter there over this, so to speak, get the music out there. And that's part of the reason. I've had all these songs for so long, and I have a lot of more songs that are there and are waiting to be developed more. But I just needed to kind of mark this moment. And that's, if it hadn't happened now, who knows where it would have gone. But I wanted to get these songs out and then give myself the headspace and the opportunity to begin to develop collaborations, new music, ideas. You know, so all of that's coming, and
it's the time. Finding the time, mate, isn't it? Like if you had 37, not 37 hours a week, full-time work or whatever, or if you didn't have any job, like the amount of music we'd all finish would be incredible. But that's it. Like, you've got to squeeze it in sometimes and steal a little bit back here and there, haven't you? And
yeah, so it's the evenings, when you get home, that's where a lot of it happens in here in this space. And then I'm going to a gig tonight, well, kind of a open mic thing that I contribute to right after this, actually. So you're thinking about that, about ways of connecting with other musicians and getting the music out there. And then I have a gig tomorrow night as well to kind of launch this CD and the album. So that's been great, getting back into gigging as well and connecting with other musicians. It's been really, really special.
Yeah, that's good fun, man. So yeah, I didn't actually pick up on the themes of the album, but I kind of picked up on the one about the sort of love going in and the love struggle. I didn't really pick up on the independent musician thing, but I was listening to the lyrics, and I did pick up on there's a lot of really good use of repetition throughout the album, and even in the individual tracks, you will repeat a couple of lines, or you'll repeat a couple of lines at the start of each verse, or there's a little bit. I noticed there was maybe 2 mentions of Romeo and Juliet near the beginning and near the end. It's really good, man. Really clever. Like, I was listening to it, and I was thinking it's really poetic. Like, you can tell that it's all stories. And I was like, I'm going to have to listen to this again and really analyze it.
So that was that song. It begins with Romeo and Juliet. So I used to play that. I was in the States at that time doing some gigs, and that's the lyric in that. I was playing Romeo and Juliet was a kind of a song I used to cover, the Dire Straits number.
Yeah, that song, yeah.
And I was playing that in a coffee shop in Milwaukee, actually, and that's where that line comes from. But the kind of Romeo and Juliet, the No Romeo, which is the other side of it, was a kind of it's the reality that relationships are hard work and they don't always work. Yeah. So there's a Romeo and Juliet, but Romeo and Juliet's a dark story in itself, but there's kind of it's as much the kind of romantic, melodramatic Hollywood version of love that we've all seen and that we're kind of sold, if you like. And then the hard reality of a relationship, which we also know, and it doesn't bear much relationship to what you see in the movies. And that's kind of where, and even there's a lyric about that in No Romeo about, it's not on a movie set.
Yeah, that was great
on a movie set. Yeah, that it's something that's, there's ups and downs you got to work through, and sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes you have to just accept that and move on and start again, start over. So that's kind of part of the story, I guess, the cycle, the narrative arc that's there in the album.
Yeah, it's nice, man. It's really good. Yeah, another song that I was going to ask you about is Dancer. I really enjoyed that song, man. Really took it down, and I loved the strings coming through at the sort of midway point, and then it builds up to the end. Is that one of those where you brought someone else in to do is it violin in there, or what is it?
Yeah. It's not, man. It's all synths, to be honest.
Right.
On the level, like I some of it's done on that keyboard there behind me.
That's do you play that yourself then? Yeah.
Yeah, just a wee bit. Yeah, I'm not a proficient pianist or keyboardist, but I like that song is a song. Actually, if you go to, again, plug for my Bandcamp, right? If you go onto the Bandcamp, you will find an early version of that song recorded live in a radio station here in Galway City, and you'll hear strings on that. So I always had strings in my head, and I just was playing with ideas. And that song is about that's partly about songwriting. It's a song about the challenge of trying to find words, which I always find, I guess a lot of people find, I have so much respect for what you do, Wilko, because there's so much, lyrics in your songs. It's extraordinary. The richness and the variety of it. It's incredible. I find that's hard work to get those. It's not to get, lyrics are there, but it's to get them right. The lyrics that can really kind of speak to the melody, and that's what that song's about. Essentially, it's about how you match the lyric and the melody, or melody and the lyric. Because usually I start with the melody, and then you're trying to find. And I do believe there is a lyric in every melody, that eventually will come out if you work hard enough at your art. and that song is about that, and then finding inspiration from a memory of an encounter, romantic encounter. And then the idea I always had was that, in a way, it starts with music, but it goes beyond lyrics, that there's sounds that you just find that kind of can express in a way that's that only music can, that kind of emotional intensity that I'm trying to capture in the lyrics earlier on in the song. And that's what it's building to. And that build that was a lot of kind of, like that song. There's 2 songs on that album I spent more time working on than any other songs in terms of trying to get them right. And that was one, and the other was Time Out. And I just, there was so many versions of those songs, and ways of working those songs, and just to come up with a mix. And I was so lucky. Again, it's just a lot of this is synchronicity, or what's the word, serendipity. That there's just things came together in a way that I couldn't have possibly planned.
That's the power of music, man, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, sometimes I do believe that, though, and that if you the things will work if you believe in your music and you work on your music and you build the confidence to push the music out there and to connect with other musicians and other possible talented people who can help you, that you will get there. I do believe that those pieces will fall into place. And I was very lucky, as I said, between Larry's involvement, Larry Hogan's, then Braydon Williams, NAS, all of those elements. So this album and those tracks and the album as a whole couldn't have happened without all of that coming together in the way that it did in that couple of years.
Yeah, that's class, man. Yeah, it's nice to hear you talk about it as well. Another thing I was going to ask you about is I think your singing is, I've praised it before on the last podcast, so everyone can listen to that. But I think it's so you can really capture the emotion of the songs. And I was going to ask you about sort of technical skill in doing that. When you're recording, are you really feeling that situation, or are you sort of like acting it, or how do in your own words, how do you describe the sort of how you put that emotion into your vocals?
Yeah, it's a really difficult one to answer, because it's not something I can really rationalize or articulate clearly, because it's like when I'm singing a song, I have to go somewhere where that song has real kind of integrity, emotional integrity. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if it's not real for me, then I can't sing it. I can't. I just have to stop singing. I have to get myself into that place where it's they called it flow. That idea that you're kind of in a space where you're the now. If you like that idea of now, where you're completely focused on this, and that's the only way in which I can sing a song. Or I can sing songs in other ways, obviously, but for recording, for a song that I believe that I'm going to record or put on an album or perform, and that's what I respond to in other musicians as well. That they can bring that real kind of sense of integrity and authenticity, to emotional kind of integrity to what they're doing. For me, in terms of performing it or recording it, I guess I just you have to go to that place. You have to find. It's like I guess it's like acting, but it's not in the way. I think it was John Cassavetes. There's a wonderful American director now passed on called John Cassavetes, who I really admire. And when he went through theatre school, his acting teacher, if you like, said to him, his best advice he said he ever got was, stop acting, be a human being. And he said that's, if you ever watch John Cassavetes' works, the acting is just absolutely extraordinary with shadows or faces. Those that know John Cassavetes will know what I mean. But that sense that you have to kind of get in touch with what makes your own kind of human vulnerability, if you like, your own humanity as a person, to really bring those songs out, or to bring great music out of any type, or art. I think that's critical, and that's what I think
everyone can do that, mate. I think it's difficult to do that. you know, in front of other people. If you're in a recording studio and there's people watching you, and you need to give it your best performance, but it can be difficult if you're not comfortable, or if you know, if you're on stage as well and stuff like that. Sometimes it can take a couple of songs to warm up or whatever. It's difficult to go straight to that vulnerable place. So I think you've done a really good job in capturing that emotion in all the songs on the album, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, you're right. It is. It does. It is hard to get to that, but I think the more you work on your art, the more you find methods of getting yourself to that point. And when I'm performing live as well, I guess it depends on different audiences, but you try to connect with that audience, and sometimes you're working off. There's an energy that an audience can create that can help you to find that place of kind of vulnerability to perform and give that emotional intensity to the performance.
Yeah, definitely, man. I've noticed you've been doing a few support slots recently with Paddy Casey and Columbia Mills.
Yeah.
How are you getting the support slots, first of all, and secondly, how's it been? Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, no, it's been great. So in terms of how I got them, there's a venue. I think he must have just come across my music on the socials, because I didn't actually go out. I've started to do a bit more now, but I got a contact from the booking person in a local venue here in Galway City called Monroe's, and he's asked me to come down to support a number of acts over the last few months. So that's been great to kind of begin to get the music out. And then what I've been doing is I've been just putting myself out there to open mics, to any kind of open fora where there's opportunities to perform in front of an audience. And that's as much to just, again, it's like anything else, you to get my own proficiency as a performer, connecting with an audience. You know, you're trying to develop that skill and that art. Like for example, tonight I'm going down to another venue, Roshi and Dove, which is one of my favorite live venues in Galway, to a really great open mic they have there. And what you get there as well is you get other musicians, and there's it's like NAS, you know, in the best examples of those, where you have all of these musicians, most of whom are working on their own material, who are incredibly kind of supportive and listen, you know, as opposed to what a lot of original artists will have experienced, where you're going into a pub environment, you know, where there's people talking, and you're trying to play, especially when you're playing original music. And the real challenge is how you kind of get to that point where you can really perform the songs as good as you feel they should be performed. But when you have that kind of an audience who are themselves musicians and who are kind of, you know, they know how challenging that is and how important that is to connect with the audience, that they're there and they're supportive.
Yeah, that's right, man. Yeah, they're on your side already, aren't they? And like you say, maybe in pubs it's not quite like that. Sometimes people are chatting amongst themselves. People would rather you weren't there sometimes. It's difficult. Yeah, no, that's good though, man. And like you said earlier on, you touched on something, and I think you were right. I can't remember how you worded it, but I was thinking it's the same as you make your own luck. Like, the more you get out there and play and meet people and talk about your music and stuff like that, the more opportunities you'll get, and you never know what the next opportunity around the corner is, do you?
Absolutely, man. That's it. It's you have to just get yourself out there, and you know, if you begin that journey yourself, things will fall into place. I genuinely believe that. And the other thing that I also believe is, the more you give, whether it's the support you give to other musicians, which is why NAS is so extraordinary, the more you get back. I mean, that I absolutely believe. If you support other musicians, if you support other people in whatever way that is, that the benefits to you will flow. You know, they will come back. They always do.
Yeah, you're right, man. So we're going to give one of your songs a spin from the album. We're going to play Not That Kind of Love Song. Did I get that right? Not That Kind of Love Song? Do you want to tell us about the track? I loved it.
Yeah. So Not That Kind of Love Song is kind of, it's a ambiguous track, as you probably got a sense. It's about a relationship that perhaps shouldn't have happened, or maybe happened at the wrong time, in a context where having that relationship was kind of challenging. So you can make of that what you like. I prefer for people to kind of have their own interpretations, but that's kind of there in the kind of theme of the song, I guess.
Yeah, that's brilliant, man. Do you want to give it the introduction?
Yeah, sure. This is Not That Kind of Love Song, and I hope you enjoy the song.
Lay me down and hold on now. And as we slip beneath each other, feel you opening out. And lay me down and close your eyes. Just for this moment, can we pretend that it's just you and I? It's not that kind of love, it's not that kind. It's not that kind of love, it's not that kind of love song. And lay me down and hold on now. What we've got, it's just enough to face the maddening crowd. Lay me down on your broken bed. Your skin slipping through my fingers. The final words he said. It's not that kind of love. It's not that kind of love. It's not that kind of love. It's not that kind of. Oh, it's not that kind of love. It's not that kind of love song.
Thank you for letting us play that, mate. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
What's
Thanks for
coming
having me.
next then? I know you've only just put the album out. So it's daunting to think about the next, but I know you were that sort of guy. You're always 3 or 4 steps ahead anyway in your own head.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that right now just got the album out, so I'm kind of trying to get more gigs and trying to connect that music with people in any way I can through the socials, through trying to get radio play, which because we're all trying to do, which is working itself. And I'm thinking about what the next single might be from the album. So any suggestions from NAS Astronauts would be much appreciated. What's their favorite songs? I'm trying to get some of that back as well to connect with people. After that, as I said, I've other songs that I'm working on. I've got some collaborations I'm hoping to develop. Thinking about ideas around that going forward and getting more music out there in the new year.
You do right, mate. Yeah, you've earned December off.
Well, yeah, we got to take a break sometimes.
That's it. So we're going to take a little break now because I can hear something quite dastardly on the horizon. I can hear it's not feeling good, whatever it is. Can you feel that? I think it might be the evil Quickfire 5.
No.
So can you handle it? Do you know the rules? You've done it once before. Can you remember?
I did, and I did appallingly the last time, so I hope I do a bit better this time. I think I ended up.
Yeah, so you've got no more than 15 seconds to answer any of these questions coming up for you now. So question 1 is, what's your favourite track on New Artist Spotlight that's been released this year?
Okay, I'm going to pick the song that I've liked this week the most. It just came out, and that's Blue Scars Underwater, which I absolutely love, and is a stunning track.
Yeah, good. I think you just got that 15 seconds in. Did that ban. So question 2 is, what's your favourite song off your new album?
No Romeo.
Lovely. Question 3, if you could have the voice of any other artist on the planet, whose voice would you pick?
I'd probably go for Van Morrison around 1968, and he was recording Astral Weeks.
Nice, I can hear that. Yeah, I listened to that actually after last time. I think you said that was like the best. Yeah, that was good, man. Question 4. Is it question 4? Yeah, I think it's question 4. Question 4 is, who is your favourite of Henry VIII's wives?
What the hell? That's like, is that even legal? Can you ask me that? Where did you get that question from? I don't know. I have no idea. The only one I can remember is it Anne of Cleves? Was there one called Anne of Cleves?
Yeah, Anne of Cleves, yeah, we'll take that as
okay, I'll say Anne of Cleves. No idea. There you go.
That's good.
Where did you get that question from?
This is why it's so dastardly, mate.
Especially to an Irishman. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I know. Question 5 is, if you could spend a day with any other NAS artist, who are you picking?
Oh my God. There are so many. Like, I'd like to go over a point with yourself, Wilko. There's so many artists I'd like to hang out with. Emily Gray. I'd love to hang out. Emily's fantastic. I'd love to hang out with Emily for a day. She's just so much fun. I love her Instagram videos. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I did prefer it when you said me. Yeah.
But we can still go for a point, Wilko. That doesn't mean
that'd be good, man. I wouldn't mind coming over to Galway sometime as well. I've heard good things.
Maybe we can go and watch Sunderland playing Newcastle sometime. If that ever happens again, I don't know. It's not going too well. Well, they're up
it's not going too badly, though. You know, you never know. It's good this season. Fun. Okay, mate. It's been a pleasure having you on. Do you want to just tell everybody where they can find you, or your socials, or any other sort of final?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Sano Hill Songs, and Facebook at Sano Hill Songs, on Twitter at Sano Hill, YouTube at Sano Hill, TikTok at Sano Hill, and Bandcamp, sanohill.bandcamp.com. And you know, I think I'm on all of the different streaming platforms, so I'm out there. I shouldn't be too hard to find, but if you can't find me, you can always email me at sanohillsongs@gmail.com. And thank you so much for the opportunity to come on the show, Wilko. I love what you do, what Origin does when Origin's there with you. I know Rich was on for one episode as well, and it's extraordinary the time you put in, and again, what you contribute to us as artists. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Yeah, always a pleasure. So I'm sure we'll chat again soon. But for now, thank you as well to everybody listening. Thank you to everybody who's following each other, putting the comments in, enjoying each other's music. yeah, it's all great. And all our radio partners, sponsors, everything, the whole community that makes up New Artist Spotlight, we are all grateful and we love you all.
Amen.
See you later, guys. Respect.
New Artist Spotlight Podcast.